Hey guys. Oh, I've been really busy for the last couple weeks. Sorry I haven't posted any new cards or any new videos, but I made this a few weeks ago and I just really loved it, and it's pretty easy to do. This is the background is using this stamp set, Wild Roses, which is in the mini catalog, but it's carrying over to it's in the new annual catalog, so you can still get it even after June 30th. I did this with Polish Pink, Fresh Frieza, and Pale Papaya, which are three of the new in colors. But I wanted to do them in a different way so I could make them a little shiny. So that's how I'm going to show you how we do that. It's with the Stamparatus, one of my favorite things. I'm going to do it today. I'm going to do it in 3 different colors. Once again, use this. You can find this on my website under color charts. It's on the right-hand side if you're on a computer. It's all the way at the bottom if you're on your phone. But I'm going to do these 3 on the bottom: Petal Pink, Blackberry Bliss, and Bermuda Bay. And like I said, we're using the Stamparatus, but since I want to ink this up with sponge daubers and ink first, we'll just set the bottom part aside for now. Here is my sponge daubers. I set these in here and, have this list here, something I did a long time ago. You can see some of mine are falling apart. We used to use these all the time. Like 10 years ago, used them all the time. And then they kind of just sort of went to the back and I just never used them. So I've got some new ones coming to me this week, and I have a few new ones here. But they can kind of get flaky, and when you start doing it, it can, do that. So anyway, I've had these, I'm not kidding, probably 10, 12 years, something like that. So there you go. You get 5 of them for $5 and it's in the main catalog. So, okay, let's see. Petal Pink. I'm gonna right here. And Bermuda Bay. I know y'all are probably looking at this like, it's right there, it's right there. Here's Bermuda Bay. Never used that for that. And then Blackberry. Raspberry, mango, olive, and Bermuda. Here it is, Blackberry. Never used one for that either. Okay, so set that aside. What I usually do is I start with the light one, because when you're using your sponge daubers, you're going to ink on top of another color, which if you're doing Blackberry and you ink all over, you ink on top of Petal Pink, it's not gonna get into your sponge dauber. But if you did Petal Pink last and you're going over these 2 colors, you're gonna get that on that sponge dauber too. So that's why I start with the small. The first thing I ever did when I got this was this is Magenta Madness, and I just stamped in that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. It makes you look like you're doing your own background, which is, always a fun thing to do. So that one was like that. And then I'll show you this other thing over here. I'll show you this after I do it, because it's actually kind of funny. All right, so I like to pull this over so I can make sure I'm doing it the way somewhat similar. Okay. It doesn't matter. It's gonna look good no matter what. Sorry, I'm probably shaking my camera too. When it's a light color like this, you don't see it as clearly as you do. You'll see when we do Bermuda Bay or Blackberry Bliss, you're really gonna see it on there. But you can still kind of see it. It almost makes it look like it's wet or something. All right, so I did that one, that one, that one, that one. Let's do a little bit over here. Okay. And then I'll do Bermuda. See, now you can really see that going on there because it's so much darker. Not all of this is going to go on the paper, but I try not to think about that. I just end up inking the whole thing just to make it a little easier. Yeah, see, that one's starting to fall apart. All right, here's Blackberry, which is really dark. I may have to re-ink some of these. As much as I use them, I just hardly ever re-ink them. They stay inked pretty good. And I use them more than probably most people do. Sorry, you probably can hear my dishwasher running back there. I'm trying to do this before it gets really loud. Yeah, see, I'm like just wondering, did I get all of it? Well, we'll see. Wonderful thing about the Stamparatus is if I didn't get everything, I can just try and ink it up again and do it over, and it goes down on the exact same spot. Okay, so the paper in the background that we're stamping on is going to be 4 by 5 1/4, but I made it a little longer, so this is 4 by like 5 1/2 or something, just because I want to be able to have a magnet on here. And if you had it 4 1/4, you're not going to be able to put the magnets anywhere because your stamp is going down on it. You can see here, I've got it just lined up a little bit at the bottom so it just doesn't move. All right, here we go. Oh, look at that. See, I missed the whole side of it. Unless I didn't ink those up. I thought I did. Okay, well, again, like I said, we can re-ink these and see if we can get that going. Oh, there it goes. I just had to push down really, really hard. Try not to get my phone to collapse like I've done in other videos. There we go. All right. Gotta push down really hard. This is different than like when I did this one. You just, you know, take the stamp and boom, 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 boom. And so that's a lot juicier, I guess you could say, than doing it with a sponge dauber. But there we go. Okay, so we're gonna leave that there. And we're gonna clean this off and let it dry, and then I'm gonna show you how we make it shiny. Okay, this is the chamois. This thing is just really one of my favorite things. I just placed an order the other day for a few of my customers, and for myself, that's what I got. I got some chamois because they clean it. It's just water, and they clean it off. And I mean, it makes it so easy when you're doing something with the Stamparatus like this, where you're stamping it more than once. And I'm having a class pretty soon, and this card won't be on there, but this type of technique will be. It will be a class that's all about using the Stamparatus for different ways, in different ways. Okay, see, it gets all on there, doesn't get on me. I mean, I don't know, it's like a miracle. Okay, so we'll just let this dry off. Let me close up my inks. And what's so great is that you can remember which one's which once you start to ink them up. That's why I like to have a different sponge dauber for every color. It just makes it easier for me. Okay, now we're going to use the wonderful Versamark. And I'm going to ink this all up. Okay, and we just left that where it was. Go back down on it. Don't have to probably press as hard as we did when we did ink with the sponge daubers. Sorry for the shaky. Okay. I'm trying to look at it myself. I think it's on there, so let's hope so. Let me get my embossing powder. All right, this is clear embossing powder. Now you can see it got on there because see how it looks, it starts to look a little faded. All right, look, I got some on my Stamparatus. I'll clean that in a minute. Let me just move this over to the side. Okay, trying to pick this up without messing it up. All right, there's my heat tool. All right, so I think we got it. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but now it's shiny, and you can see how it got much darker, because even if you put clear on there, it makes it brighter, I guess, is what I'm going to say. A good way to say it. So there we go. I'll go ahead and I'm going to cut this off, and then I'll just show you how I did the rest of it, making it look a little different, which I like. And then I'll show, like I said, I'll show you how I did this and all this stuff too. Okay, what I always do is I first just stamp the wild roses, and then I look at my colors to see which one is the heaviest, which one's the lightest, whatever, and then I kind of decide what color I'm gonna color my butterfly. And obviously for this one, what I did, the sides and the top of the butterfly, I used the gold foil, which here's the negative parts. See if I can, yeah. And what I did was they were 1/2 inch wide by 5 1/4 inch long. So I decided I'm going to do this one, for this card, I'm going to do it in petal pink. which believe me, I love the gold foil, but I don't like to use all of that all the time. So this is the die right here. This is from the, oh gosh, I know I was gonna forget. It's the Contours. Let me find out in a minute what I'm talking about. And what I do is I run it through, and I want the sides, like how much is on this side, how much is on this side, you know, to be equal. And I do the dips all the way to the bottom. So that makes them the same size on each side. So let me get my machine over here and we'll do these, and then I'll show you what I did with the butterfly. Okay, the dies that I'm using, and I used it for both the sides and the thanks that I have on here. I did it with the same dies. It's the Scallop Contours. And you can see I have this one set up ready to go. Also, the butterflies we're using is the ones right next to it, the Brilliant Wings. So I'll show you that in just a second. All right, so I got that one on there. Here's a crack. There we go. Okay. Just use a little tape on there to keep it from moving too much. Okay, so there's one side of it. Now, I think I set this on top. Yes, I did. We'll do this one. Let's see if you can see it. Here's the other side. And this is all bowy like this because we had to use so much heat on it. You can put it under something heavy, or, you know, under a heavy book or something, lay it flat. It'll get like that eventually. So that's how that will look compared to the original one, which is gold. Okay, so I have another butterfly here. It's a little different shape than this one, but I stamped all these in smoky slate and just die cut them just to do something with. This one was the same one, but I colored it with the Fresh Frieza blends markers. This is the petal pink, so I'm just gonna color it with that. I always start with the dark, and I just sort of, what's so great about the blends is you can keep going and keep doing things. Like, you may first color it and you're like, not real crazy about it or whatever, you know, but okay, and here's the light one. Okay, and then I color his body a little bit. I'm not too worried about it because we're going to do the one that's on top. And let's see, I may just do more petal pink on top of him just to kind of, because, like, remember up here I did petal pink, you can kind of still see it right there, but then I went over it with Bermuda Bay. So there's not a whole lot of petal pink on here. So let's see. Look at that, I opened it right to it. That's impressive. think this is the one for the top of this one. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna die cut petal pink with this, see how I like that. Some petal pink right here. Move that off to the side. Since this is pretty intricate looking, you know, I run it through there twice, even though I don't really think you have to, but there he is, or she. This is what, there we go. It's coming out easy. Getting this thing helps it. Okay, one up there. Okay. Look at all that coming out from the butterfly. Okay. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that it's the same color inside and outside, but just a little different. I'm not going to bore you with gluing all this down. It's just gluing down. Okay, so like that. Okay, and then the thanks. One of my little, oh, here it is. This is, I add so many things. I pile stuff on top of these things. I'm surprised I don't lose, look at that. I don't lose more of my stuff. Okay. What I did with this one is I stamped it in Versamark and then embossed it with gold embossing powder, obviously to coordinate with the rest. But for this one, since I'm not using gold, I'm going to, let's do it in petal pink and see if it seems dark enough. This thanks stamp is from a new one. This is called The Biggest Wishes. I love, love, love this stamp set. I've used it several times, but it comes with the big ones and the ones that are smaller. I've used it on several cards. All right. And this is the die we're going to use to cut it out. Won't fit that way, so I got to do it this way. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, get this shrapnel off my cutting plate. And set that down. Oh, yeah, you can see it. Okay. I always slide it in there gently and then sort of hold it down as I'm pushing it through, just so it doesn't move. Okay, so there's that. And probably, like I did for this one, these little gold ones in the corner. Let's see. That's not the right color. Just going through all my stuff, trying to decide what I want to do. These would be good, like the clear ones in the corner. These are new, silver and clear epoxy essentials. Those would actually kind of look good there. Oh, this one's really good. Opal round. I think I'll use these. There's all kinds of stuff. What I use for the gold ones are these. Don't ask me what their name is. I'll tell you in a second. Okay, those are the metallic pearls. They come both in, they come together in gold and silver. So that's what I used on that. But I really think I'm gonna like when I put these on there. They're a little bigger, so maybe I just do 1 or 2 on each one. All right, so I'm going to go and adhere all this, and then I'll show you at the end. And if you've got any questions, let me know. I just think it's really fun to make backgrounds like this. All right, be back in a sec. Okay, so I glued it all down, so here you go. I used these, which are the opal rounds, just in the corners there. Not sure, I don't know. So I'm not, I may add 2 more, I may not. I kind of like it better with the butterfly being a little bigger. So I may change that too, but I just wanted to use something I had sitting around. Glue it onto here. This is another petal pink right here. So that's what it'll look like when it's done. Here, I wanted to show you this, okay? This is why when I was showing you on the Stamparatus and I showed you how I made it a little longer than it needs to be so I could have the magnets on it so the paper wouldn't move. Because the first time I did it, I didn't have that. I just used the 4 by 5 1/4, and I did just like how I showed you, inked it up with the sponge daubers, cleaned it off, and then did it with Versamark. Well, the paper must have moved a little bit because this is the one I did, and it looks very psychedelically hazy. I kept it around because I was like, when I took it out, I was like, you could see the difference. It just was a little, like I said, hazy. So that's why I have the paper longer so that I can put the magnets on it so it stays still while I do both stamps. When I do it with the regular ink and the sponge daubers, and then when I do it with Versamark. So that's why. Another thing you could do, if you just wanted to do it all one color, but you wanted it shiny, you're gonna still want to do it in the Stamparatus, because you put the paper down, you secure it down with the magnets, you ink it up, you stamp it, clean it off, and then you ink it up with Versamark, stamp it, and then use your clear embossing powder. It would be really hard. Here, I'll bring this back over, even though I still need to clean up some of the embossing powder that's in there. It would be really hard, like if you had this on a block, like this block, and you stamped it, and then trying to get it in the exact same place, because chances are yours is going to end up looking like this if you try to put Versamark on it to make it shiny with this clear embossing powder. So you would do the same thing. You would, let's see, it's got magnets on it, but you would line it up where the best place is, make it a little longer so you can put the magnets on it, ink it up with whatever color, just one color, stamp it, take it off, clean it. You could, even if you wanted to clean it like with the spray cleaner, which I use for almost everything too, you could just take it off, clean it off. Just don't take this off of this. And then you could put it back in, ink it up with Versamark, stamp it again. So you could have, you would think like, oh, I'm right here. If you wanted this to be shiny, that's how you would still want to do it in your Stamparatus. Look at this. I'm gonna try and get my clear embossing powder out of here. It's kind of sticky. Okay. And you'll see also, I've showed this to you in other videos, because the stamp was bigger, obviously, than the paper that we were stamping on. The ink gets on here too, but it easily comes off. Okay, and I cleaned this off, cleaned it off from the Versamark too, also with this. Okay, so that is one way to make this really, really pretty stamp that is beautiful just in one color, but here's a couple ways to do it in different colors, and how it just kind of, it makes it either way, either this color or these colors, it makes it look like a background paper that you made. So make them shiny, and obviously these are cards that would be good for people who like fancy, you know, chic, shabby kind of stuff. So it's always nice to send people thank you cards for what they do. I started sending more cards to people once I started making cards, and it really, I mean, I'm sure all of y'all who make cards, card makers, that when you give somebody a self-made card, you get, I mean, people just go crazy. They can't believe you made it. They think it's so beautiful. They think it's so nice and everything. And so I try to send cards for everything I can possibly think about to anybody. I just think it makes people feel good. All right, well, if you got any questions, just let me know. Have a good night.